All right, welcome back to another episode of Sankofa Sessions. I am your host, Kofi and along with my man.
Man, look, I'm two. That's what I'm doing today. I'm two, man. You the one, I'm the two.
He's Kofi and D. Don't listen to him. He forgot.
Hey, yeah, okay. That's what they say.
Yeah, so we're back again with another episode here for y'all. Today the topic is food justice and health within the Black community, and we can talk about the intersectionality of all of that, Black power and liberation, and how food plays a role into our independence and freedoms and all of that. And to help us out with that topic today, we got Duron Chavis.
Hey, what's going on? Thank y'all so much for having me, man. Appreciate the opportunity to kick it with y'all tonight.
Yeah, thank you for coming, man.
You know it.
Hey, but before we get into the topic, though, we got to shout out two people, right? First and foremost, we got to shout out Resist Booksellers here in Petersburg, Virginia.
Yeah,
the best bookstore there is. So if you want to buy books, don't buy from Amazon. Come and buy books either here or guess what? He got an online webpage too, so you can buy it from, right? Yes. And then we got Modern Man Photography, right? That is giving us this beautiful, beautiful cinematography. So if you want a movie shot, I'm talking all the big movie houses, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Tubi. Tubi good now too. Now I look at Tubi.
You look at Tubi?
I look at Tubi, right? Tubi got some good movies. So
I still have yet to watch a single thing on Tubi.
That's un-American. That's un-American. I'm gonna tell some people on you. I ain't gonna say what people I'm gonna tell on you. I'm gonna tell some people on you. Shout out to our boy Kyle or whatever. So wherever you want shot, please come see him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's hot though, bro.
Yeah, man, it's heating up. It's heating up.
I got on show, and guess what? Guess what's heating up tonight, baby? That's why I got the Miami Heat gear on. For anybody that know, I've always been a lifelong Miami Heat fan, even when they had some, down days, and then we got LeBron. So tonight, mark this episode, the Charlotte Hornets will lose, and I put $200 on it.
Okay.
Yep. My fan duel should be going off in the middle of this podcast, maybe. It might be zero. I might lose everything.
You might lose everything. I don't know, man. You think who? Okay, so, we ain't talking about the Wizards. We moved on, man. The regular season's over.
I'm gonna just say Bam every time.
I don't even know. Honestly, besides Bam, who else y'all got?
Don't talk to me,
man. Look
don't
here,
talk
man.
to me unless you make the playoffs, right? Right. If I'm in the castle and you in the fields working, don't talk to me.
Okay.
So right. I ain't gonna do that to you. But
hey, so on a kind of a, I don't know, sad note, I guess.
Y'all season over?
Nah, we ain't talking about that.
Crazy. My bad.
Speaking of Bam, Africa Bambaataa passed away.
That is true.
A couple days ago. I don't know, man. How you feel about that? He had kind of a mixed legacy.
No comment.
Come on.
No. I'm not touching that one.
You're not gonna touch that?
It's wild.
What you got, Duron? What you got?
That's a pause. Not touching that one.
Yeah, pause. Super pause. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, nah, man. I got the only comment I got is, man, F pedophiles. We can't. That's not the energy we're trying to stand on.
Yeah.
Salute the founding of hip hop and everything, but when you become a pedophile, you negate your legacy. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it.
Look, I feel like there's an asterisk on his legacy. I mean, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, this dude kind of, there would be no hip hop without him. He was a founding father of one of the greatest genres of music ever. So it's like, it's just, you can't talk about his legacy without talking about his personal life,
right.
which is a tragedy.
And the fact that he didn't get held accountable for it.
So can you appreciate the work without the person?
Yeah.
We kind of do. Like we listen. We all fans of hip hop. It's in the culture. It's part of the culture. It's a major part of the contributions to music. So it's like you got to talk about it, and so we can't not talk about them. But yeah, when you talk about them, you got to also respect the victims that of what he did.
Yeah,
so
I think what's challenging is for people to like lay hip hop at his feet as if he was the only one. right? So we don't throw hip hop away because Bam was a pedophile. There were other people involved with the creation
For
of the
sure,
culture.
for sure.
You know what I mean? But we definitely, don't let nobody like dismiss the fact that he was a pedophile. Like that's
No.
that's a real thing, and it's also, I think, important to acknowledge that he was enabled. You know what I mean? Like there was people around that knew what the energy was, and nobody did nothing. Hip hop is a highly masculine, culture, right? It's oriented primarily around men, and it says a lot about, men for us to know that somebody that, that's been lifted up so much was a pedophile, and all these men stood around and didn't do nothing about it. That's crazy to me.
I mean, it is crazy, but like, shoot, I mean, I was listening to an interview with, what's it, Wanye from what's his name, from Winston Men?
Yeah, Wanye is one of the members.
Yeah, and he was openly talking about having a relationship with Brandy, and she was like 15, 16, and it's like, I know that stuff was prevalent, probably still is prevalent, probably still, I'm sure it goes on a lot, even today. It's just, but whether it's hip hop, we got the 2 congressmen just resigned today, for sexual assault and, allegations. So it's definitely something I think we need to deal with within a male culture. It's not something that needs to be spoken of within like a context of hip hop or black culture or whatever. Like, we went through the Me Too movement. We saw all these, folks got held to account. So we just, when we see it, we just should still not be afraid to hold folks to account for what they did,
Yeah. I'd be feeling like, man, honestly, man, I think we, as a society, we deal with patriarchy. But I think one of the challenges is that, people don't want to hold folks accountable because they be doing BS. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like they don't want to say too much because they got some skeletons in their closet. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Epstein deal. You know what I mean? Bam got away with this for all these years, and the Epstein situation is still out there. All of these those folks are running rampant. I feel like this type of predation on young people is a part of American culture. Like it's not an anomaly, right? But when people get on the camera and get in front of the people, they like, nah, I'm against it. But they mans, you know what I'm saying? But be behind the closed doors. Do
you think it's something that? So I also think about it on like accountability. I wonder, at least I'm just asking a question out loud. Like, do you think we as a black culture are less willing to hold our idols up for accountability? And I think about Kanye, right? Like, folks quick to forgive Kanye. He done apologized to every, to an entire Jewish, population. But this dude was walking around with a Klan robe and, KKK outfits and T-shirts and, all this other stuff. And we back listening to him like it's nothing. I feel like sometimes I just like, are we willing to, sometimes I feel like we're just so happy to see other black people succeed that it's like we're not willing to hold them to account when they mess up.
That got to be a whole episode. Man. I look, my mind just going a lot of places, but I will digress, man. Duron, what you think about that?
For real, man, I don't even think cancel culture is a thing, bro. I honestly don't. I feel like, when the Me Too movement jumped forward, people was like, yeah, you can get canceled. You say the wrong thing. But reality is people's attention span is like a hot 2 seconds. So, the next hot thing come up, and people forget or they, downgrade it in terms of what, they're thinking about, So we don't really hold anybody accountable unless it's like, somebody going to jail or,
They even forget about them. I mean, let's be honest with you. Now we on Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty.
Right.
So, I mean, we've already moved. Even African Bombado was like 1 second.
Yeah.
Might be 1 second, half a second.
Yeah. So I don't even think, honestly, I mean, with Kanye, what have you? I mean, I just don't think nobody even remembered. I mean, they until somebody brought it up, because the moment that Kanye jumped up, did the concert, everybody like, yo, that was amazing.
He's back.
Yeah, he's back, but you know. Yeah, he was wilding. He's been wilding. Ain't probably gonna be wilding in a few weeks too. They're gonna say something else, and then people could be like, "Yeah, I told you so." But I mean, nah, it's no such thing, really. I don't think so. I don't think it's any. I don't think it's a real thing. Because what does it mean to be canceled? Like you go chill for a few minutes, go sit in the timeout corner. You know what I mean? Then you right back. Or in the attention economy, you could say some wild, crazy stuff.
And it gives you more attention.
And it gives you more attention. It gives you more money. You know what I'm saying? So
it
it's
probably
like
depends
really
on how talented you are.
Hey, talent solves a lot of problems.
If you
get away with it,
it's kind of like it's kind of like the diva wide receiver, you know, or the diva quarterback or whatever. It's like you could be wilding out, but if you in the top of your game, somebody gonna sign you.
That's what anything.
You know, you might get cut from one team, but you know what I'm saying? Like so. But if you the third string, you cancel for good. You know, I feel like it's the same thing in the rest of society. You know,
people couldn't even People couldn't even stop going to Target. You know what I'm saying? That was like a national thing. Like everybody's like, no, going to Target. And then as soon as somebody say, oh no, we're going back to Target, people was like, oh, I'm back in Target. Like it was.
I'm snitching right now. My wife went up in Target a few times. I was like, ain't we supposed to be banned in Target? She's like, come on, man. I ain't trying to go to Walmart.
I just want to say, I am not a part of this. I am not snitching on.
Shareem, I told you to stay out of Target. You know we was doing this thing.
I do not endorse this statement. I want to remain neutral. Black love, once again. So if your missus see this, just know I'm on her side. So
she don't watch the show no way.
Wow. On that note,
I can say whatever I want.
Wow. Tell them how you really feel.
That's crazy.
On that note, Duron. You go ahead and get us in transition because you about to be in trouble. I don't want to get no call to my I'm on the couch tonight. Yeah. It's cold downstairs. So when I'm hearing things, I'll be like, she did watch this episode. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say she did watch this episode.
Unless somebody forwarded this clip.
No.
All right, Duron. Look, man, I normally don't go do the whole bios thing, man, but you have such an impressive bio. I'm gonna go ahead and just go ahead and read this thing off here so our guests understand the gravity of who we got sitting on this couch here.
You better be as good as Shannon Sharp does his.
I'm terrible.
There's a lot
of
50,000 words, $50,000 words in my book.
All right, so Duron Chavis is a food justice activist and founder of the Happily Natural Day. Chavis engages in coordinating innovative and dynamic initiatives around the topics of urban agriculture and local food systems. In 2009, he launched the Rich Manure Market, a Saturday farmers market targeting low-income communities located in what the USDA has designated as food deserts in Richmond, Virginia. 2012 marked the development of his community garden, which subsequently led to the development of urban farms, urban orchards, urban vineyards, and work in poverty mitigation, workforce development, health, and racial equity. Chavis has received numerous accolades for his work. He served in the 2011 as a Clean Air Ambassador on behalf of Earth Justice and Hip Hop Caucus. He is an alumni of Leadership Metro Richmond's class of 2011, received Style Weekly Top 40 Under 40 Award in 2010, and the Style Weekly Power List in 2014 and 15. I could have kept going, man, but man, congratulations on all your accolades.
Thank you.
We gotta pump some crowd noise. We gotta pump into the back on this one. So we got some air horns or something. No, appreciate y'all. Appreciate you for what you've been doing for the community, and congratulations on all your success and
welcome to the show.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate the opportunity to kick it with y'all.
So, Duron, one of the things we want to really discuss with you, right, is that you have been really instrumental, especially in the Richmond metro area, when it comes to like urban agriculture, right? You know, for those who don't know, there's a lot of myths, there's a lot of misnomers, and there's also a lot of convenience of how we get our food, right? I think that when food shows up at the grocery store, people are like, hey, look, I don't need to know where it's come from, as long as it tastes good, it tastes right. But there's so much that goes behind how we get our food, especially in our communities.
That's
right?
correct, yes.
So can you talk a little bit about, I guess, what drew you to like providing insight on food obtainment and, you know, just urban agriculture as a whole? Like, what drew you to it?
Yeah, so I got into this food justice work in my early 20s. I started the Happily Natural Day Festival. It started in the back of the Black History Museum. You know, vendors, music, people, you know, coming to speak, workshops, etc. And the subsequent years, we would attract different types of vendors. Mm-hmm. And I think it was probably like 2004, the second year, Black farmers started coming through.
Oh wow!
For to sell their food. One farmer in particular, shout out to Renard Turner, Vanguard Ranch. He's based in Gordonsville. He would come and sell produce, but also like value added products. He had like a food truck and, you know, goats and stuff like that. So he was currying the goat on the spot. He started, you know, I guess engaging me kind of like on a mentee type mentor energy. You know, he would call me and we talk on the phone and stuff like that. And I remember him asking me, like, what would I do if the grocery store is closed? You know? And
that's something you don't think about, right? We've always shopped at a grocery store.
Nah, you don't think about it until it happens. So I was living in Southside when Hurricane Gaston or Hurricane Floyd, I can't remember. One of them came through and it shut off the power.
Sure wasn't Isabel? Isabel was 03. I know that's the one everybody talk about.
Was it Isabel? No, it was after that one.
Okay.
It was after that one.
Shout out to Isabel. She was a good lady.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, hurricane came through, blew the power lines down, and the grocery stores were closed for like 2-3 weeks on Southside. And so after everything, you know, after everything that we had frozen, you know, was cooked, and all the fish and all of the excess canned goods was gone, you know, I remember being like, yo, what we gonna do? You're like, this is crazy, you know. Having to go way across town, the other part, in order to get food was insane. So after that, we started doing pop-up farmers markets in formerly redline neighborhoods. So what I decided to do is play the middleman between the farmer and the hood. So I would go aggregate produce from the farmers, and then we would pre-sell shares of produce. So my tag was 20 pounds for $20, right?
Oh, wow.
And then, you know, every Saturday I did that from like 2008 to like 2014 or something like that. And that experience is really like what rooted me in this food justice work. I mean, I was basically, the farmer was my plug, and I had to figure out how I could increase the amount of revenue that I was getting, you know, in terms of my profit. So I started growing stuff, right? And the goal was like, yo, it was double me trying to increase my revenue, but it's also the farmers that I was copping from. They were old enough to be my grandfather. These men were in their, you know, late 50s, 60s. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, if something happened to him, then this is a wash. I ain't got no connect. You know what I mean? So it was really birthed out of like a response to the trauma of going through the hurricane, and then the question of what we would do if the grocery store closed. And it evolved because of my relationship with those farmers, me doing business with them and trying to figure out how we address this whole food desert conversation. I mean, we started in Churchill.
Yeah.
Moved over to Battery Park, Brooklyn Park Boulevard area. We even did it out here in the Burgh. I used to work out here in Petersburg with the Hart Street Urban Ag Center, and we did it out here. And all of that stuff evolved.
If I could, Duron, I think the thing a lot of people don't realize about Virginia as a whole, given its kind of agricultural roots or whatever, and everything that goes with that. We know the history of the slavery, the plantations, everything like that or whatever. There still is a lot of black farmers out here. I give a prime example of that. I got a homegirl, shout out to her, Carmen, and her partner Tara out in LA. They got this thing called Prosperity Market. They are the only black farmers market in LA.
Wow.
Shout out to them. Hopefully
I think I seen them online.
Yeah. They got Michael Strahan, Anthony Davis. They got all these people. But I brought her out here because her parents still live out here, and I took her to the VSU Agricultural Center, right? The farm, Randolph Farm.
Randolph Farm, yeah.
And the reason why I bring this up is we're blessed based off of geography. Where with her out in LA, it was hard to find because given that LA is kind of really industrial farming with all the the wineries and all the other crops they grow in the valleys and things like that. So we're really blessed. So I think, how did that lend to you? You mentioned that some of these people became mentor, mentee, but how did that access to the farmers like really lend to what you were trying to build?
Man, so I grew up in apartments. You know what I mean? I didn't have a grandparent that I could visit in the summertime and then like that where you shuck peas.
You ain't go to the country? Yeah.
None of that. Yeah. I mean, I went to the country, but I ain't had nobody that was on it like that. So the farmers that are in Central Virginia, the African American ones, really invested in me. Once I showed that interest, they were instrumental in giving me that oral wisdom, basically teaching me how to farm without them really teaching me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a class, but like if you sit with a farmer every Saturday selling vegetables, they're going to tell you about, the difference between GMO and organic and, why you should be growing food and how and all that stuff. But it's been a network of African American farmers that have been like critical for my development as an urban farmer, but also as an organizer, an activist. I mean, shout out to Virginia State University straight up, because that space was really like a lightning rod. I worked there from 2014 to 2016, and I met so many farmers in that space.
With Randolph Farm or?
Well, just through the College of Ag,
okay, yeah.
And the cooperative extension that, Virginia State University has a cooperative extension. And when I worked there, I connected with a lot of farmers, people like Cliff Slade, people like Dennis Harvey, Dr. Marcus Comer, William Crutchfield, all of the staff. They were dope. And then even before that, when I was just getting started, I was connected with Renard Turner. Renard Turner was on the board of the Virginia Biological Farming Association. So I met a lot of black farmers through that space as well. But I won't like pretend as if the numbers are super high, and it's really challenging for farmers to exist. Period. But it's extra challenging for African American farmers. Especially in this moment, but historically it's been challenging over the years.
What are some of those challenges?
Yeah, well, what are some of those challenges? Some of those challenges are access to markets. Some of those challenges are undercapitalization. But the reality is many of the farmers that are existent in Central Virginia have been struggling to find the type of support that they need in order to really thrive. One lane, I remember Brother Ahmed, Salim Ahmed, he was in Brunswick County. He's one of the first farmers that I would cop produce from. He had been through it over the years, like discrimination from the USDA, not being able to access the loans and the different programs that they had in his earlier years. And, when I met him, I'm like, yo, I don't know nothing about that. I'm like, yo, we should try to do this, try to do that. And he looked at me and laughed, because he's like, yo, man, we already been down these paths before. But the access to markets piece is something that we really would talk about. I ask folks all the time, do they know the name of their farmer? Or do they know a farmer, period?
Probably
and usually
not.
people don't, man. And it's the number one supporter of black farmers should be black people, right? Like you would think, but
That's true.
most of us don't even know where the farmer is located. They don't buy consistently from them. You know what I'm saying? So the farmer has to try to figure out where to sell their goods. And because of that, a lot of farmers don't really sell vegetables. They sell a lot of what is called commodity crops. So that's like corn, soybeans, you know what I'm saying? And that is not really like the best bang for their buck, you know what I mean? But that's what they got to do because people not buying the vegetables from them. And then they can't find like large bulk purchasers that are going to pay them a fair price. You know what I mean? So
Isn't that
so
crazy
it's real.
though? The one thing we need to survive, right, which is food. You can't get away from food and water. We are so kind of disconnected from it through convenience.
Yeah,
It's crazy, right? Like
It
you
is.
cannot live without food.
Yeah. So this is the deal. Everybody's dependent on the corporate energy in order to feed themselves. We've gotten as a populace, as an American public, we've gotten disconnected from where food comes from. We don't even imagine that there are hands that are growing the food. We just go to the grocery store. I mean, it was like, yo, I'm gonna pick up this pack of frozen broccoli. But we don't, even with the price of food, right? It was like, yo, we want the cheapest food possible. But in order for the food to be cheap, that means that somebody gotta get paid a low wage in order to do it. You know what I mean?
Migrant workers and
Yeah, so
It's crazy.
This is the challenge of American agriculture in this moment. The American population want cheap food and they want it fast. They want strawberries in December, right? In a region that doesn't grow strawberries in December. They don't think about who's got to be out in the heat, picking the produce. They don't think about the fact that somebody's got to pay the gas in order to get it from the farm to the warehouse or the grocery store where it's sold.
that's why I say that 1,000 miles is real.
Yeah, it's real, and this I think it's two parts. We are two generations removed from the South primarily in the black community. I mean, we think about the Great Migration in the 1950s, 1940s. Most of the families before that were living in rural Southern communities, but because of racial terrorism and paper terrorism, we dipped off into other places. You were talking about L.A. Like people, migrated to other parts of the country. Because of these systems, agriculture has become unsexy, right? Very hard for us to participate in. But I think now, as we see things evolving with this country's politics, not only the war, but the tariffs, all this stuff, it's making people like, oh yeah, I need to get back to local food. I need to get back to the land, and I need to start farming. I need to start gardening. But it's deep, man, because it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
But you can lock in. There's a lot of folks that are now that are operating and developing systems. Shout out to the National Black Food Justice Alliance. I'm a member of that organization. People from all over the country are working on this interregionally. You know what I mean? To try to get black farmers back on par to where we need to be. But it's a journey. It's a work that needs to be done. You know what I mean? Word up.
So yeah, let's take a little break right now just to again thank our sponsors, Modern Man Photography, Resist Booksellers, for all appreciate you guys supporting us.
Miami Heat gonna win tonight.
We not dealing with that. We not dealing with that.
I mean, you say take a break. I mean,
I gotta admit to you, Duron, like everything you just described, that's probably me to a T. Like I'm admitting it. Like I don't think about where my food comes from. Honestly, I started doing like Walmart delivery, so I won't even go to the grocery store half the time.
Yeah.
Like it just like shows up at my door. Like, but tell me, like, so I'm probably your average consumer, right? Like I'm the person that just doesn't really think about food. I know that food is, local is better. It's like subconsciously, I kind of everything that you say. If you ask me, I'm like, yeah, that's true. But then like I don't like put it into like my practical weekly schedule to think about it or to do anything about it. So tell me, and all the average people out there, like, why should I move differently?
Well, oh man, there's a couple of reasons. First, I say health wise, knowing your farmer and knowing who grew your food, you could develop a relationship with them to learn the practices that they're implementing to ensure that you don't have any pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides sprayed on your food. You also can lock in and learn about the methods that they're using to build soil fertility. And that soil fertility is going to be the reason why your food is nutrient dense, right? The second part, on a community level, supporting your community-based farmers helps build the resiliency of your region or your area that you're in. Because God forbid something does happen with the food system, we're in a very fragile situation. If you remember COVID, you know what I mean, stuff shutting down, with the price of gas going up, food is going to get even more expensive. But supporting the farmer now on a regular basis will ensure that even if there are shocks to the system, such as the grocery store closing or food getting too expensive because of the rise of gas and the rise of prices in fertilizer, then you'll have farmers in your community that you can purchase from, because they don't just magically pop up. You know what I'm saying? Farmers are rooted. They have to have been developing their systems for a while. And then another is for the environment's sake, right? We live in a situation where we want healthier waterways, we want healthier airways, and by supporting farmers in your local community, there's practices that local regenerative farmers are putting in place that help keep pesticides and pollutants out of our waterways. That also the planting of trees can help increase the quality of the air. And then if you're in an urban environment, right, and those farms are proximate to your home or your neighborhood, those farms are also serving an environmental benefit, right? Because they also do stormwater management to prevent stormwater from going into our waterways. And I don't know about Petersburg, but I know Richmond has a problem with stormwater management.
Oh, we got one here too.
So Petersburg has the issue where it's a combined sewer overflow. When it rains, the water that comes from off of your roof and the rain that comes, the rain that goes on the street, and the water that comes out of your plumbing, your toilet and your sink or washing dishes or whatever, you take a bath or shower, all that water goes into the same waterways that then go to your wastewater treatment system. And when that rain hits and it overflows, all of those pollutants go into the river, right? And that's the reason why people can't fish in the Appomattox or fish inside of the James River. Now, when we develop green spaces and urban farms in the middle of the hood, then those spaces act like sponges to prevent, that type of challenge from happening. So that's 3 off the top,
Those
not to mention
those are very, very, very good.
Not to mention just it's delicious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get a wider diversity of what you find in the grocery store because farmers are often growing a wider variety of the type of varieties of the typical vegetables that we see. But so for example, I got an affinity for hot peppers, right? So I grow all types, man. Scotch bonnet, habanero. I might even freak out and do like Carolina Reaper or some ghost peppers and stuff like that because I like the spice. But when you go to the grocery store, you don't see that wide selection. You know what I'm saying? You see bell peppers and then maybe some cayennes, you know what I'm saying? Or jalapeno,
maybe.
Right? So the local farmer, he can give you that wider selection, and especially if we're talking about culturally relevant foods.
Boom.
I got homies that's growing Nigerian spinach, people that's growing, just a wider array, like Boma eggplants. You know what I mean? At our farm, we're doing all types of stuff, man. We got semi-tropical fruit trees inside of our greenhouse. So it's like you can also dabble into that culinary artistry, you know what I'm saying? The fresh local biodiversity in terms of your diet by supporting your local farmer as well.
I'm with you. So I guess, and maybe you guys are thinking about this, whatever, but I feel like for somebody like me who is in a routine, right? You go to the grocery store or you order online or whatever, like, in order to penetrate that routine, like there has to be like some kind of it has to be effort on my part and desire on my part. But then also I think to help me out and people like me out, could there be like apps or so, can I order online?
So some of the older farmers ain't really up to the speed on the tech. I'm just gonna keep it a bean, right? I know our organization, we do what we call a Black Farmer CSA, which is a hybrid version of what is typically community-supported agriculture. Shout out to Booker T. Watley, African-American farmer from Tuskegee University that came up with the concept. But it's essentially a membership program, right? You purchase food through a membership from the farmer, and then they give you a share of produce every week or bi-weekly, whatever the frequency. We do a delivery version of that subscription program. Okay. So you cop from us, and
you got to share that link.
Yeah, I'll buzz it out. blackfarmercsa.com. But essentially, what we do is, you can pick your frequency, right, and then we'll drop the produce off on your doorstep, right? Okay. That's our way of trying to tackle the convenience issue for people, and kind of supplant the DoorDash and the whatever app, GoPuff or what I'm saying, Instacart or what have you, and do it ourselves, right? We're also really intentional about aggregating from local farmers, so it's not just our stuff that we're growing. So we kind of take that load off of folks who are trying to have to find the farmer, quote unquote. Right. You can cop from us, and then you're gonna get value added products from them, whether that's honey or soaps or sauces and spice and seasoning, stuff like that. And we can bring it right to you.
You know, it's funny tying this into the diaspora, right? Shout out to my pops, man, because I'm gonna tell a real funny story. So, everybody who's been watching the show know, I'm Ghanaian. My pops is from Ghana, so we eat a lot of goat. We love some goat, man. We love some goat. So my pop, he would go up to DC back in the day and get the frozen goat from the farmers market. I think it was Obing International Wholesalers. I think it was ran by a Nigerian guy. They used to go to the farmers market. They had everything. It wasn't even DVDs back then. It was VCDs. Yeah, exactly. VHSs of all the Nigerian, Ghanaian movie and stuff, because goat was hard to get. And then my cousin, shout out to Augusta, she owned Ghana House on Harrison Street.
Oh, that's my family. That's your people.
That's my people. Wow. Shout out to her. She was there for many years. That's right?
Wild.
So she used to go there too. So I think this is like early 90s. So this is kind of like my experience with like Black farmers. My pop was just like, man, I got to stop running up to DC to get goat because I'm only getting a little bag. So he met this guy, Mr. Branch, God rest his soul, was a Black farmer out in Matoka. So I remember my pop picked me up in the, shout out to that gray Ford station wagon. Wow. No air conditioning. We ride out to Matoka. And I remember my dad talking to Mr. Branch. He was like, yeah, I want to buy one of your goats. And he was like, for what?
Oh, boy.
Like, he didn't, and my dad was like,
two and two together.
We gonna eat this. And Mr. Branch was like, you want to eat him?
Yes.
And my dad was like, yeah. And he was like, we want to buy. He's like, so he grazed my land and keep everything clean, and you want to eat him?
Yes.
And my pop was like, yeah. And that relationship went on for, oh my God, I think Mr. Branch died when I was 18. I had to be about 6 or 7.
That's crazy.
And we got a chance to really learn about farming because once a month, we would go out there to Matoka, right?
Yeah.
And he would tell us about the crops. And I remember as a kid, I would see, the soybean, everything he was growing. He would give us crops. So, because it was like a couple hours of fare.
Right.
It wasn't like the goat was ready. He was like, he would come out, he would be like, hey, how y'all doing? I got to go get him first.
That's it.
So he would go out there, kill the goat, take him back. He had his own little slaughterhouse, and my dad started bringing his friends. So some of the people he knew that was working at Virginia State and some of the other local West Africans learned about Mr. Branch. It's funny because the diaspora and black people from every place were connected in that exchange because he's looking at us like, what do y'all want? Like, y'all want a goat? And we're telling him, and that became a source of revenue for him.
Nah, that's real.
And on top of that, we also were able to buy crops from him as well. So, people just think about farming as eating. It's also cultural exchange because he was so used to that goat just grazing his land and doing what that goat did. But he learned that he was like, I didn't know y'all eat goat.
Yeah, that's
and I think he even tasted some of our goats, our hot pepper soup and things like that. So he was introduced to that. So like when we talk about food as memory and culture, I always go back to that example of how like a local farmer right there in Matoka didn't know anything. Like I'm talking about when we asked him about the goat, you should have saw how the way he looked at it. It was like,
no, that's real though, because I grow eggplants and I grow the extra hot peppers. I got a Liberian brother that comes every summer and is like, yo, what you got? The
cultural exchange.
He coming to get the hot peppers. I also, we do sweet potatoes, and so when we got the sweet potato leaves, that's another delicacy. You know what I'm saying? People don't know that you can eat the leaves, but that's a West African dish.
Yeah, it's funny how the thing we need the most can also give us information we had no clue about.
Right.
Rest in peace, Mr. Branch. That was one of my favorite childhood memories. Going to his farm and seeing him. He ain't never let me shoot the goat though. Right. I wanted to pop, but I used to be out there. He'd be like, yeah, he like, Kofi, go drag. I used to go out there and drag the goat, get my hands dirty. Yeah. He showed me how to chop it up.
Yeah, one of our farmers out in at the Petersburg Way used to keep goats.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to talk to him.
Brother Omar.
Let's do it.
You eat goat?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, because you said your habits. You said your habits.
Look. I cooked some goat curry like
I'm messing with you now. I thought if it wasn't DoorDash, you didn't want it.
Oh no, man. No.
I don't think they DoorDash and goat.
No, I'll DoorDash. No, I'm saying I'll order my food to get it delivered, not like the groceries. Not. I cook my own food
maybe
now.
we can get the guy out there to DoorDash you a goat and just show up right there.
DoorDash is wild. Goats, live goat by DoorDash.
Hey, Duron, one of the things I want to ask you about, right? And I did get a chance to watch your TED Talk. You said that was many years ago, but shout out to you. I got a chance to watch that, and that was really insightful. We did an RVA TED Talk to talk about urban agriculture, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that many majority black cities deal with is blight, right?
Yes,
I'm a real estate guy, do some other things when it comes to like local policy making in terms of like real estate and policy making on the economic side, right? What do you feel for majority African American cities we can do to kind of entice urban farming? Because we have a lot of blight in these cities, whether it's Petersburg, whether it's Richmond, whether it's Baltimore, whether it's Jackson, Mississippi. You have vacant lots that are just sitting there that could cut down on those. Before the camera started, we talked about food miles. So the average food miles is 1,000 to 1,300 miles combined on your plate. So every spring mix, every grape tomato, every cantaloupe, every strawberry eat combined, right, is 1,300 miles. So that's, I don't know what 1,000 miles is. I'm assuming that's pushing probably Texas, give or take, right? Or maybe a little bit farther. So how can we leverage those urban centers with all these vacant lots?
So, that's a great question. And, when I did that TED Talk, it hadn't really exploded like it has. But now, that was, I think, 2014 or something like that. But today, 2026, many major cities with high African American populations have some form of policy that's been implemented on a municipal level that deals with the land use policy and relates it to urban ag or urban farming. I know Richmond has a program called the Richmond Grows Gardens program where you can take a vacant lot that's owned by the city and turn it into a community garden. Now the plots that are privately owned, that's a whole nother conversation. But what folks can do, look up your city hall ordinances around urban ag, or Find out if there's a community land trust or a land bank in your community, because typically
talk to them.
The land bank has what has been surplus city or county property that they're holding explicitly for quote unquote affordable housing.
Cause you served on Maggie Walker, right?
I did.
I read up on that.
I used to serve on. Now we have our own community land trust, the Central Virginia Agrarian Commons, that we operate.
Awesome. Congrats.
So, the vacant lot conversation is important in urban cities all over the country, because of redlining, the property values have been depressed. And now, 60 years, 70 years later, folks are trying to move back into these communities and they're taking these lots, purchasing them, and then, increasing the property value by doing, home flips or what have you. I encourage folks to see if they can acquire those plots and turn them into green spaces, because not only do we need more housing density and we need more affordable housing, we also need access to farms, to green spaces, to parks, and all that different type of stuff. Those also increase the property value of the community, but they also have a functionality and utility that can increase the individual families that live inside of those communities' wealth, right? So a community garden, I've talked about this before, you know what I'm saying? If you're looking at a community garden to increase access to healthy food, it doesn't do that, right? It does create an opportunity for people to learn how to grow their own food, but you need scale, you need larger spaces to really impact access to healthy food.
People habits.
And you gotta grow a lot of food. If you're talking about you have food security in your community, you got a little 3,000 square foot lot. It's not happening, Jack. Just can't be real. You know what I mean? You can learn how to grow a couple things, but if you want to grow some food to feed your community, then you're gonna talk about some acres. But the community garden does have an opportunity to be a gate that opens up that you can then walk through and then explore and then learn, okay, this is how I can replicate this process on something a little bit bigger. But it also serves as an opportunity for commerce.
That's true.
Right? So the idea of those farmers markets, those pop-up shops, people getting ingredients to turn into products. I'll tell you a story. At my first community garden, McDonough Community Garden, when we've been training community members on how to do urban ag for almost 8-9 years now, and I remember one gentleman came through my training and started making pepper jams.
Pepper jam?
Pepper jams. Follow me. So where was he getting the fruits for his pepper jams? We planted fruit trees at McDonough Community Garden. We got almost 30 of them. So we have plums, apples, peaches, you know what I mean? Pears. And so he would go over to the McDonough Community Garden, pick the fruits, and then take them back to his crib to turn it into the pepper jam. We took him to one of our vendor markets. Man, the man sold out of them pepper jams. So
extra income came off of
extra income, and then what I call opportunity for product development and product testing came by way of that community garden, because he didn't have to buy any of the peppers to experiment and create his recipe, right? He was able to just go at the time it was time for harvest and pick, several bags worth of fruits, take it back, chef it up, and then he hit the market with it. So the community garden does do a lot of things, and those vacant lots are an instrumental point in making that type of stuff happen, for sure.
I would definitely say shout out to Detroit. Detroit got a really good program. We all know the comeback story of Detroit, where it was at, where it is at, and where it's continued to grow. They still have a very big blight program. One of the other things I would like to point out too, I think, and I would love to hear your opinion, is with the, I guess, turnover in housing, because people are tearing down and building new, right? A lot of what was conforming lots are not conforming lots anymore, because what was code back then is not code anymore, right? So what happens is you get a lot of like side yards, you get a lot of smaller pieces of parcels that nobody wants to deal with. They become scraps. You can look around any urban city and you see these little slivers of land that nobody can deal with, especially in the southern cities, because you can't build on them. But like you said, that could be a green space that could be something.
Yeah.
So like you said, it may not be for food, but it could be to help with stormwater and things. But
Right.
I guess people have to reconnect themselves with nature and farming and agriculture as a whole to kind of see those opportunities.
Yeah, and I mean also it's a responsibility of the municipal government leaders and urban planners to also encourage that.
You think politicians behave responsibly?
No, not necessarily. But I mean, I think that, for those that are innovative urbanists and the people that recognize the importance of these third spaces and the people that want their cities to be resilient in the future, it is like it's not an anomaly to think, okay, well, maybe we do need some green spaces in the middle of all of this housing density, right? The city is full of impervious surface, man. And it's not only an issue of stormwater management, it's also an issue of heat.
Yeah.
So the urban heat island effect is a big deal for people. We did some research with the Science Museum of Virginia some years back, and we come to find that, in the hood, the block is hot. It's literally like 10, 15 degrees hotter in the summertime. You know what I mean? And that's because there's so much asphalt, in the city, and way more green space in neighborhoods that were not redlined. So for those that are trying to redesign cities, make them walkable, right? We need the green space in order to make that a reality. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you talked about the politics a little bit. Want to try to dig a little deeper into that. So particularly when it comes to like food deserts in general, can you talk a little bit about both the politics and the economics of why we have so many food deserts within Black communities?
The reason why we got a lot of food deserts in predominantly Black neighborhoods is traced back to the 1950s and the redlining that occurred in these neighborhoods as a result of the New Deal, right? So the New Deal basically was this idea that home ownership would catapult, the American economy and serve as a wealth building strategy. But Black Americans were excluded from the loans that were being offered to Americans all across the country. And the neighborhoods that African Americans lived in, irrespective of the amount of wealth, there's many Black Wall Streets that were excluded from the homeowners loan corporation assessments and things like that. Basically, because those neighborhoods didn't get access to those resources, the neighborhoods were depressed in value, right? Now, a grocery store is a business. It's not a nonprofit organization. And it makes very slim margins when it comes to money, right? A friend of mine in the grocery store industry describes the grocery store as basically a warehouse with advertising, right? So when the grocery store picks where it's going to locate itself, it's trying to find the highest median income possible. So the people that can pay for those higher price items can make those compulsive purchases, right? The grocery store doesn't make a lot of money on produce. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the highest selling item out of the store.
And it's perishable. And
it's getting thrown away every day, right? Yeah. The grocery store makes money on napkins, man, and detergent and toilet paper more than it does plastic forks and paper products than it does the produce.
Canned goods.
Yeah, canned goods. So this is I need people to understand that first, right? So it's not exactly like the grocery store is discriminating against Black communities. It's just the way the market works. Yeah. They don't find, it's like, we're going to go into the hood. We ain't really going to make a lot of money in the hood. I mean, even if you account for EBT, it's still way more money be made in a suburb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why you can go to Richmond and you could go to Carytown and you could go to Publix and then you can go across the street to Farm Fresh and you go across the next street to Food Line or Kroger, and you can go across the next street to Elwood Thompson's. Because in Carytown, it's right on the border of one of the wealthiest parts of the city. Yeah. So they like, people, they are fans of these stores. They get what they can get from each one of them. In the hood, you're going to find Family Dollar, Dollar Tree. You know what I'm saying? You used to be able to find mom and pop shops in formerly red line neighborhoods. But because of the way, these big box stores have evolved, like the Walmarts and the Costco's and the Sam's Clubs and unfortunately the Targets and the Food Lions, all this stuff, it's priced them out of the market. The reason being is that each one of these big box stores are vertically integrated.
Yes,
so not only do they sell other people's products, they make their own products, right?
Talk about it.
So if I'm a store trying to open up and I want to go to market and put, let's say for instance today, Duron Chavis wanted to go open up a grocery store in the middle of Petersburg. I heard y'all got one coming. I'm gonna pray for her. You know what I'm saying? Because the reality is, when she opened up her store, she's going to have to enter into a value chain and find a supplier for the products that will be on her shop, on the shelves. And in order for her to get the best price for those products, it's going to be a challenge. How do you compete with Kroger when Kroger make its own canned goods, right? Kroger can basically sell them for the lowest price. That's why it's at the bottom shelf of the store. She gonna have to buy everything that comes into her shop. So her prices are gonna be higher. It's no way around it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Unless she got a really nice, trust fund and she can afford to, take a loss on the products on the shelf. That's just how it works. So the politics of the thing are, this redlining thing happened in, the systemic racist thing happened in the 50s, and it still affects us today. On top of that, we got like the subprime lending scandal that happened in the 2008s that also like snatched so many homes from African Americans in those communities. So now, it's a weird thing where the communities of color that used to, inhabit these predominantly black neighborhoods, now they getting pushed out because not only gentrification, but because they were targeted with these subprime lending situations. So it's a really ill thing because watch every gentrifying neighborhood, if you do the math or do the mapping, you'll see that there's a large number of developers that have purchased up properties that are now Airbnb-ing those neighborhoods out. Right. I know I see it in my neighborhood, and I challenge some researcher that's watching this to do the mapping on major metropolitan cities and see who developers own where, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, 10 years from now, what used to be a predominantly black neighborhood will not be. You know what I mean? And so you'll see the grocery store come because the income will continue to increase. So, yeah, I mean, this is just the reality. But the piece that I try to engage with people on is that the grocery store is a new phenomenon, relatively new.
Talk about it.
Right? So the first refrigerated box truck, it hits the market in the late 1940s by an African-American by the name of Frederick McKinley Jones. He's the co-founder of Thermo King. So if you don't have a Frederick McKinley Jones, you don't have a refrigerated box truck. The Highway Act in the United States is in 1954.
Talk about it.
So without a highway system, you don't have box trucks going up and down the road to pick up food from ports, right? So, I mean, the first grocery stores like Piggly Wiggly's, I think that's the early 40s, but the conception is that these things existed all the time.
They did.
But before 1940,
it was all local.
It was all local. Everybody knew their farmer.
And it's funny you mentioned that because, my grandma on my mom's side from Augusta, Georgia, she used to always tell me things were out of season. Things were legit out of season.
I have no idea what's in. I'm like, I want strawberries in the winter. No idea. No idea what season is what.
We're going to do it that shit to goat too.
Is it goat season?
Yeah, oh man.
What season is it right now?
Nah, so, this is just, what's happening today, though, the trends. People want more local food. People want organic food. People want to know who their farmer is. So, in response, there are more and more small farmers that are popping up all across the country. And, I think the goal for us, well, at least for the networks that I'm a part of, is to build out the systems for people to engage in the food in a way that makes a living wage, and then also brings ownership and control to previously marginalized communities. You know what I mean? And it's not just the farming; it's also the aggregation of the produce. It's also the distribution. You know, the DoorDashes and the delivery services. It's the value adding. You know what I mean? It's the people that's making products. It's the restaurateurs. You know what I'm saying? It's the caterers. And then it's also like the waste management, because like we need healthy soil, so the composters and the reduction of this stuff, the food waste from going into the landfill, is a big deal for us as well. So like I think tomorrow, when I say tomorrow, I'm thinking like 10 years from now, 5 years from now, we'll see more and more farmers. There'll be more readily available and a wider spectrum of people that you could participate in this type of stuff with. But as far as the hood, we got to be on it now. Like if we going to stay in the game, or at least if we going to get in the game, now is the time, because those lots are disappearing.
True.
That's why our work of like land reclamation is both urban and rural, because we about that life. We like, yo, black people exist in the future. We exist in the city in the future, and we own the land in our community in the future as well. So it's not just about the grocery store, but that's kind of how we got here. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to reclaim the land that was stolen from us, and so that we could participate in it.
It's a very layered conversation.
That was really enlightening, man.
Yeah, this was awesome, man. Definitely. I had like 20 questions to ask you, but we gonna have to have a part 2 or something.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Like this.
You gonna be one of our first repeat guests.
Oh man, come on, man.
You do that too much knowledge. We gotta.
Don't do.
We gotta
that,
bring
man.
it back, man. We gotta bring it back.
I just want to final, just to say, I want to share that I'm really honored that y'all even asked me to be on this thing, man. Because I geek out. I can go hard. I mean, not a lot of people really want to get into the nuts and bolts of this thing. It's like really, a lot of people simplify the conversation. Oh, it's a food desert. And build a community garden. Like, bro, nah, man. It's way deeper than that. It's way deeper than that. So thank you for giving, me opportunity to, dive into this with y'all.
Well, we're honored to have you on as a guest, because your knowledge just obviously is just kind of pouring out. It's just, and so definitely appreciate you sharing that knowledge with us, sharing it with our audience. And again, definitely would like to have you back on for some part 2 of this, because there's a lot more I wanted to get into. We didn't even really get to touch on like some of the issues within the diaspora as a whole. But yeah, it's a lot of layers to this conversation, and definitely want to have you back on again.
Yeah, let me know, man. Thank you.
Sure, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, shout out to you, Duron, and shout out to all our fans. Like I said, if you want to follow us on social media. As always, we want to shout out, our sponsors. Like I said, Resist Booksellers. Why buy from Amazon when you can buy it here? Hopefully something drops from the sky, like a graphic or something, right? Modern Man Photography, right? Best cameraman and best videographers this side of the Mississippi. Right, I'm claiming it, right? But hey, Duron, thank you so much, brother.
Man,
we appreciate
it's
man.
I'm honored, man. Thank y'all for the chance.
First repeat guest.
Let's go.
Right?
I'm here for you. Y'all just let me know when, man.
Right? And then, for Christmas, right, we got to send him a goat to his doorstep. Yeah, please, let's get it.
Only if it's DoorDash.
Only if it's DoorDash.
Only if it's DoorDash.
Hey, before I forget, we got to do the book.
Oh yeah, the book of the week is Farming While Black: Soul Fire Farms Practical Guide to Liberation on the Land by Leah Penniman.
I was just with her sister.
Oh wow, you know the
Penniman.
author.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know her.
Oh, nice.
Peace, Leah.
So you can get this here at the Resist Booksellers,
Not Amazon.
not Amazon. We don't do that.
Nah, I got some in my cart.
Yeah, I order some every day.
Okay, come on. You gonna judge me?
But we don't order books from Amazon.
Nah, we never order a book from Amazon. Hey, we love y'all, man. Take care. Peace. We out.